Hey everyone, welcome back to SFDC Ninja, and I am here with one more Apex Trigger scenario. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. Before anything else, first let's understand the data model for today's scenario. So in this scenario, we are going to work on a custom object which is order, and in that object we have different fields. Like we have stage field which is of picklist type, and in this field, we have multiple values like new, in progress, approved, preparing, and other values. After that, we have last stage change field, which is of date time type. We also have stage history field, which is of long text area type. This is all about data model. Now let's understand what we are going to do today. So in today's scenario, we need to calculate how much time a particular order has spent on a particular stage throughout the order journey. Let me explain it again in a simple language. I already told you that we have a picklist field stage which contains different values. Now, whenever this stage field of an order record gets changed, then we need to calculate how long the order was in the previous stage. And then we need to show that time span in this stage history field. I hope the scenario is now clear to you. It's time to code, so let's go to VS Code and create a handler class. Let's name it order trigger handler. Let's create a method, trg method. Now guys, it is obvious that our code should get triggered whenever stage field on order object gets updated. So for that, we need to compare both new value and old value of stage. And we can easily get the old value by using trigger.oldMap. So what we will do, we will pass two parameters like this. New order list, old order map. Basically in this list, we will pass trigger.new from a trigger, and in this map, we will pass trigger.oldMap. So this list is equal to trigger.new and this one is equal to trigger.oldMap. Copy this list name and apply a null check on it. Is empty. Iterate over it. New order. Now, like I told you, that we need to check whether stage field of order record has been changed or not using the old map. So what we will do? We will create an instance of order object in which we will store the old version of order record using trigger.oldMap like this. New order. Copy this map name, paste it here, not equals to null. Copy this variable name, paste it here, dot get, and pass this ID. So this variable now holds the old version of order record, and here we will apply a check like this. New order dot stage not equals to. So if this condition will get true, then it means that stage field has been updated. But now the question arises that what we will do if this condition will get true. So if this condition will get true, then we will calculate the time spent in the previous stage. Let's see how. Guys, see, our code needs to know when the order record has entered its previous stage. For this, we can have a look at two possible pieces of information. First is last stage change field. Like I told you earlier, that there is a field on the order object which is last stage change. Basically, this field is supposed to record when the order last moved to a new stage. And second, the creation date. This is when the order was first created in the system. Now guys, here is how we will decide which one to use. First, we will check that if the last stage change field has any information in it. If this field has a value, then we will use that. Like this, date time, last change date, paste it here, dot last, stage change. This makes sense because it tells us exactly when the order last changed stages. But if this field is empty, then in that case we will use the date time when the order was created, because that is when the order entered its very first stage. Like this, if order last stage change is null, then copy this variable, paste it here, dot created date. So here we have the start time. See, basically, we need to calculate the time spent in a particular stage. I mean, we need to calculate how much time passed between the start time of stage and end time of stage. And we can find it by subtracting the start time from end time. But the problem is, we don't have end time yet. So we need to find the end time, which is simply the current moment. I mean, when the code executes, it captures the exact time at that instant. This is the time when the order is moving to its new stage. And in Apex, we can get the current date time by using datetime.now function. So we are going to use datetime.now as our end time. Now that we have both start time, I mean when the order entered its previous stage, and end time, which is right now, we can easily figure out how long the order spent in the previous stage. We can do it by subtracting the start time from end time, like this. Time spent, date time, dot now, dot get time. Copy this one, paste it here, dot get time. Basically, this get time function returns the number of milliseconds. That's why we will convert it into minutes. So to convert the result into minutes, we will divide it by 60,000. Why by 60,000? Because we know that there are 1000 milliseconds in a second and there are 60 seconds in a minute. So there are 1000 into 60, which is 60,000 milliseconds in a minute. That's why to convert time difference from milliseconds to minutes, we will divide it by 60,000 like this. Now our next task is to update the stage history field by the information that we have generated. So let's update it. Let's create a variable history entry datetime.now. Basically, this function will return the date as a string. Changed from, and let's move to next line. Old order dot stage. We will give the stage name here. New order dot stage. So here we will print the previous stage and here we will print the new stage. Time in previous stage. Copy this one, paste it here, It will come in minutes, so we will give minute here, and this is for new line. So we have stored all the information in this variable. Now using this variable, we will update the stage history field like this. Stage history. If it is null, then we will simply put the variable in it. Else, if it is not null, copy this line, paste it here, then we will append it. And at last, this is very important, we will update the last stage change field to datetime.now. So we have our handler class ready, save it and deploy it to org. It is successfully deployed. Now let's create our trigger. Let's name it order trigger. A trigger will be an order object. Now we need to update the same object. So that's why we will go with before update event. We will apply a check like this. Order trigger handler.trg method. First parameter we will pass trigger.new, and in second parameter we will pass trigger.oldmap. Save it and deploy it to org. It is successfully deployed. So we have our code ready. It's time to see it in action. So let's go to our org. In our org, let's create a new record. Let's say test order 1. Stage will be new. Click on save. And now we will wait for 1 minute. And after that, we will update the stage field. Now let's update the stage field. We will update it to in progress. Click on save. So as you can see that we are getting the expected result, which means our trigger is working fine. Now let's wait for another 2 minutes and then we will update the stage field again. So let's change the value again. We will move it to closed. Click on save. And again we are getting the expected result, which means our code is working fine. So that's it for today guys, and I'll be back with more interesting trigger scenarios. Thank you and keep watching.